Islamic communities and non-Islamic communities, Christian or Hindu or Jewish, have lived together side by side. I mean, for many generations. I mean, there's no inherent conflict between the religions. In the case of the recent Islamist militancy, I mean, we know very well. I mean, how this developed. I mean, it all started out. I mean, from Afghanistan in the early 1980s. In which there was a formidable coalition of forces against the attempt at modernizing Afghan society under a communist regime. You had a lineup of the United States, of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, providing money, weapons, etc. And Afghanistan then became the equivalent to a whole generation of young Muslims all over the Muslim world, to what Spain was to progressive Europeans and progressive Americans in the 1930s, who went to fight in Spain with the international brigades. And at that time, I mean, since they were fighting against the communists and against the Soviet Union, it didn't matter, I mean, to anybody in the United States or anywhere else that these people were also fighting against the idea that girls could go to school, or science could be taught or anything like that. And then what then happened, I mean, was that with their victory, these Islamist warriors rightly felt, I mean, that they had defeated, I mean, one of the superpowers. That was one of the a major thing they saw. And well, if we have defeated one superpower, we can defeat another one as well, and the rest of the world. They had their grievances, of course, against the United States as well. I mean, the American presence in Saudi Arabia, in the country of the holy places of Islam, of Mecca and Medina and other places. So this then grew out of the Afghan experience, and was of course also fired by other conflicts at the time. I mean, the war of succession in Yugoslavia, and because many of the Afghan warriors, I mean, went to Bosnia and to Kosovo to fight, or to Caucasus, to Chechnya, and you had a whole Islamist international coming together. And I think, I mean, that was a crucial generational experience. I mean, for these people. I mean, like anti-fascism and the Spanish Civil War was to progressive Europeans and North Americans. But there's no, as I said, I mean, there's no essential violent conflict between Islam and Christianity, or Islam and Judaism. So this will probably ebb out, I mean, sooner or later. Like, I mean, we had in the early 20th century and late 19th century, we had a wave of of anarchist terrorism all over Europe and North America, which lasted for, well, basically lasted for a generation, for about 20 years or something, and then it died out and disappeared. So I mean, now there, if there are anarchists left, I mean, there's no anarchists sort of throwing bombs at politicians. So that's why I think, I mean, that this is it is a contingent, or it was a contingent phenomenon, this Islamist violent militancy, and it's a generational phenomenon which will die out. This doesn't preclude the possibility that there might be a new generation, which, for some reason, which we don't know yet, might feel the same anger and outrage and so on. I mean, that's not to be excluded, but it's there's nothing essentialist about it.